South Korea is set to be slapped across the face with 25% chunky US tariffs in just 10 days. And loads of people in the advanced South Korean economy are no bueno. Well, that's Mexico. They're not happy. They're not happy. Um, I was gonna try some South Korean, but let's not get into that. Squid Games, no, please. This is likely to shake up their economy hard, as South Korea, according to tradingeconomics.com, did over 128, I think, billion in export trades to the US alone last year alone. Um, More recent statistics, 9 billion in February, just the month of February, 9 billion. It's a lot of money, guys. It's a lot of money. Vehicles, steel, electronics, so much, in fact, comes from South Korea into the United States. United States are generally, relatively speaking, compared to before, and relative to their power, a deindustrialized country. Their industrialization, their industrial heartlands are basically in other countries because of globalization and connected economies. They sort of build stuff elsewhere and import because it's cheaper. Wages are lower elsewhere, and with lower wages, people can still live their best life. Maybe not their best life, but they can live a decent life in, East Asia, somewhere in East Asia. Now, tariffs would have a ripple effect across every one of these sectors where South Korea builds stuff and then imports it into the US. Now, zooming out a bit, what's with all the tariffs on allied countries anyway, South Korea included? Well, you see, Donald Trump's administration thinks it's a solid idea to impose huge tariffs. He only does things big. It's the very best. These are big, beautiful, my favorite word, tariffs on allied nations, right? In order to make it easier for American industry, according to his gambit, in order to make it easier for American industry to redevelop, to be reborn. He can't really tariff adversaries because, Russia and Iran, for example, they don't really trade much with the US. So there's nothing to tariff, there's nothing to put a barrier in front of and tax goods as they come in. But with South Korea and Japan and all these allied economies, slapping them hard tariffs on them and collecting the revenue at the US border customs is apparently a master plan. Step two, buy a bag to put all the cash in, right? Sorry. And the ultimate plan, watch as US industry takes off like one of Elon's rockets, right? And hopefully lands without crashing. That's the economic gambit, that if I impose enough tariffs, my country's industry will develop because there's less competition now, and then we'll just trade with ourselves, right? But many economists in America and globally are saying that if you tariff at the rate America is tariffing and you tariff flipping everyone, not even just everyone, you're far more likely to harm your domestic economy than help it. After all, if everyone is tariffed, America sort of has to do business with itself, whether it's ready or not, whether it's got businesses that can replace the foreign companies or not. You just have no choice. Or the only choice is you carry on doing business as you were as a company, you relying on those foreign imports, but you pay a lot more because of the tariffs. Now, industry, guys, doesn't just pop up overnight. If America, because I'm not right, I'm being unbiased, right? I'm being analytical. I'm not wailing on Trump and criticizing all his policies and making fun of him like the Daily Show or Late Night with Stephen Colbert or some whatever. I'm just giving you the facts. Um, Industry requires building, investment, trust in the mid to long term from titans of industry, the wealthy fat cats, as it were, that there's profit in building out industry in this country. They have to have that expectation, otherwise they won't invest the money. And they, at the moment, largely won't have that trust that they can, expect long-term goodies, cash, because Trump has shown that his administration is quite, flip-floppy. He might see how much pressure tariffs are putting on the average American or putting on American businesses, and he might roll tariffs back. He's already done that, for example, in China's case, where he tried to restrict H20 computer chips, and China was like, okay, it's much harder for you now to get rare earth elements refined. How's that for a fortune cookie? And America was like, okay, fine. We lift our restrictions on H20 computer chips, AI chips, by the way. I talked about that in another video. So, case in point, investors aren't exactly rushing to rebuild America as their industrial titan. They're holding on to their cash and watching, with wary eyes to see how the dust settles, how the cookie crumbles. In short, what is clear according to many of the soundest minds and leading voices in the matter, is that tariffs will put pressure on the American consumer, pressure on American businesses, and it comes at a time when Americans, the average Joes of the country, are already struggling. Don't get me wrong, the rich are winning in life. You know, if you're an American who's wealthy, you're probably making copious amounts of money while your fellow countrymen are suffering. If that you call winning, while you're rich and everyone around you is poor, then yeah, you're winning. You're winning. It's not really something that you're going to suffer from these tariffs. Ordinary citizens, though, will likely face higher prices for the same items, or fewer items, fewer choice, because tariffs will restrict what gets imported, because businesses might think, okay, this is not profitable for me anymore, right? Um, and why will the consumer pay more? Because that will be a way for importers of foreign goods to offset the cost they pay. Whoever imports, the American company importing has to pay the tariff. It's not some other company. So they'll just pass that cost, they'll pay it, and then they'll pass that cost on to the consumer so that their company's balance sheet, their company's profits aren't, hit. But they will be hit because if something costs more, then people are less likely to buy it. So your sales will go down. It's not ideal, basically. So, be it South Korea or Japan or Taiwan or the Philippines or China or any other East Asian country, a traditional US buddy or not, the first four we listed were buddies, China, not so much. But whoever it is, August 1st is looming large and is closing in, and tariffs, for better or worse, are about to be slapped on a lot more countries. For the unbiased news and analysis without the Western spin, and with eyebrows as funky as Dwayne The Rock Johnson, I'm Mahfouz, and I'll see you on the next one.